G'day everyone, this is Dom.
And this is Rosie from The Anywheres.
Welcome to our very first podcast. We've never done this before with each other.
Never.
So it should be a bit of a wild ride.
Yeah, tune in, have a listen and jump on our website at www.theanywheres.com.
And there you will find a store and a gig page. You could buy a CD or a t-shirt or a ticket to one of our gigs coming up at, say, the Piano Bar in Geelong or Bendigo or Ballarat.
Or at the Thornbury Theatre on June 25th, Friday, and that'll be our full band album launch.
This is going well so far.
I know, it's pretty good.
Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Anywheres podcast. I don't know if that's what the show is going to be called from now on, but
It'll do for now.
It'll do for now. And this is
one.
a bit of an experiment. What we thought we would do is, what I told Rosie we would do is we would try and have some conversations about what it's like being a musician, what it's like doing our thing that we do.
Thing.
And then with a view that in the future we would hopefully get some other people involved, like ask the guys that we perform with, the people who maybe do design work for us, and then some of the other musos that hopefully we will get to play with over the coming 25 years.
Correct.
Rosie doesn't know that I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. So, yeah, we thought we'd give that a go. But then perhaps what would happen is for the people who do like our music and maybe don't like our music but like us,
yeah, that could work. Yep.
could
that could literally work.
Could work.
Yep.
They could listen to this or watch it and get more of an insight into kind of what makes us compelled to do what we do.
And like us on here and maybe just not like our music.
Yeah, well, that
vice versa.
Makes plenty of sense, really. And I think too, it's nice for I've done a lot of podcasty type things before with my beautiful friend Matthew Bradshaw,
the bestie,
and I really think that personally, I'm not speaking for Matt, but my relationship with him and my ability to converse and have quality time with other people has actually increased greatly because I've had that time with him and have those kind of conversations.
One-on-one.
Yeah. And also you end up talking about things, in a manner that you don't usually get to talk about stuff.
That's true.
So it's actually really, I really think I've personally benefited from it. And so I thought it would be great for us to do it as well because we have such a great time doing the music.
We do.
Hopefully what will happen is we continue to like each other.
Yeah. And maybe I can get better at this.
So perhaps we could use this episode as a bit of an introduction to the Anywheres.
Definitely.
And how we could, explore how we got to be the Anywheres.
Yeah.
And what might happen is in future episodes we give you a more comfortable chair because I realise I'm sitting here in this luxurious studio chair,
and
you've got
chair.
You've got my kitchen chair there.
But it's fine for me. I don't mind. You're like the producer kind of director, and I'm like watching you and learning.
Oh,
like the Karate Kid.
So I'm Miyagi.
Yeah, that's the one, Mr. Miyagi. Yeah. I'm learning.
Do you know what? Of all the people to be compared to,
he's pretty good to be compared to. Yeah,
it's like Miyagi, and then there's like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I haven't watched Star Wars before, so I wasn't going to use that analogy because I'm going to get it totally wrong.
And there we go, folks. Just goes to prove that you can have a functioning working relationship with someone who hasn't seen Star Wars.
And how do we know Dom has seen Star Wars? What did you wear to our little band meeting the other night?
Oh, probably my Star Wars dressing gown.
Yeah, you did.
Now, let me point out that the Star Wars dressing gown, it was a gift from my mother.
I love your mum.
I love my mum as well. And she I'm not sure that she put blood, sweat and tears into making my dressing gown, but she certainly put time, effort and love.
Made it?
She made it,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's pretty cool.
She made it, yeah.
Okay, then it's, okay, you're allowed to wear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
You see, we haven't talked about the band yet, but I mean, I love Star Wars. Star Wars was a childhood movie, and but if I was out shopping for a dressing gown and that particular Star Wars dressing gown was next to another maybe plain white dressing gown, I'd buy the white dressing gown, right?
Really?
Yeah. But the fact my mum gave me a Star Wars dressing gown that she made, I'm going to wear that forever.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's
cute. Great. My grandmother gave me a Mickey Mouse T-shirt.
Do you still have it?
No, I don't. But what I remember is, because we came to Australia when I was 10, and my grandmother came to visit, and I'm pretty sure the story is, on her way over, she decided to buy some gifts for the grandkids, and we all got some kind of Disney paraphernalia, and I got a Mickey Mouse T-shirt.
Yeah.
And so I wore the T-shirt to school one day, and the next 7 or 8 years of my life, into my early 20s, people just gave me Mickey Mouse things.
Oh, they thought you
They
liked
thought I
Disney.
loved Mickey. Well, I like Disney, like
Mickey Mouse.
But they thought, Dom loves Mickey Mouse. Like, I just wore a T-shirt one day.
Yeah.
So people will pigeonhole you, and we'll probably talk about this over the coming episodes of this podcast. And even in the pre-conversation that we had to recording this, where you said, I just can't imagine you playing in a band like this, because I played Rosie some music from my high school band.
Yeah.
And people look at you and they go, oh, do you do that as well? And I bet you've had it with...
I get it all the time.
Rosie, I didn't know you could sing quietly and beautifully.
Yeah, that's the first thing that happened with this band.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You sing quietly? You have a volume?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yes.
So, you are obviously one of the most wonderful singers I've ever heard in my life, and most people who will have heard you sing would agree. How did you discover you had a voice?
I didn't have a voice.
Who discovered that you had a voice?
I didn't have a voice when I started. I sounded like a Disney character when I started. So I started...
Did you always look like Ariel?
No.
Okay.
No. The Ariel thing when I was 20. 20. I had my hair red, yeah. I was in a choir at school.
Mm-hmm. High school?
High school, yes. Year 8 it was. And we had to write an original song.
Oh, cool.
And I used to write poetry. And I submitted my original piece to my music teacher. And she entered it into a competition.
Cool.
And at that point, I was like, I was at the back of the choir. I didn't want to do solos.
Well, you're about 13, 14?
14, yep.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be anywhere near the front. Didn't want solos. Didn't want nothing to do with music. Just loved being a part of a group that sang.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was also a dancer. So just sang just to kind of get the dancing and the singing thing happening because I was pretty uncoordinated. You had to see it. Could dance, couldn't sing and dance.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Entered this song into a competition and I won. And it was a big deal. And they announced it at the school assembly and I didn't want to get up and they kept calling my name.
Wow.
Got up and I got to go to Sony in Sydney. And they recorded my original song. And I just did not want to be there. And I kick myself every day now because that's exactly where I want to be. But when I was 14, didn't want to know.
Right. No, that makes...
Nervous as, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So my little poem I have at home, I have a box of Sony Studio printed
CDs. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, it's the funniest song you'll ever hear. It's really cute.
Yeah.
But I sound like I'm 14 and I can't sing.
I have plenty of... I have an album, actually, from when I was 20 where I sound 14 and can't sing.
That's cute.
Yeah. Rob Powell, who's going to play bass in the band,
He is.
he eventually got a hold of... Oh, there, I can see it right there. Dom Italiano and the Rubber Band. That's what the album is.
That's pretty
That's
good,
the
eh?
band. Yeah. And he was so lovely when he said, I was listening to it. It's like, the songs are there-ish.
Ish.
But, wow, you didn't know how to sing. I was like, yeah, I didn't. But we can talk about that a little bit more later on. That's really cool. So you basically were forced into...
Yeah.
I don't mean forced, not like child labour, but more like, you know,
because it was
encouraged greatly encouraged to go beyond your comfort zone.
Very much so. So at that point as well, I was competing dancing.
Yeah.
And at that point, you had to be the full package. You had to act, you had to sing, you had to dance.
Triple threat.
Didn't want to be any of those. Just wanted to do my ballet and I was happy. And there was, never forget, it was in Ballarat. It was the tap championship. And to enter, I want to be a tap dancer, obviously.
Can you tap dance?
Yes, I sure can.
Can you teach me? We'll do it in a music video?
Under 14 tap championship. And
hang on, you didn't answer that question.
What did you say?
Can you teach me to tap, or we'll do it in a music video?
Oh, done. Yeah.
I've always wanted to tap dance.
I would teach you.
Yeah.
I'm probably woeful now, but I would teach you.
This is great.
To enter, you had to enter 4 parts.
We might get you to move a bit closer so I can see you in the video.
Done.
Yeah.
So you had to have 4 parts to enter this competition to be the overall champion. So you had to do ballet,
Yeah.
tap, jazz, and you had to do a song and dance.
Yeah, right.
Whether it was tapping and singing, jazz and singing, you had to sing. Didn't want to do it. And my dance teacher was like, no, you're doing it.
Right.
And I sang, and I got to the last note, and nothing came out.
Oh, yeah.
Have it on video. It was the best thing ever. Mouth opened, nothing out.
That happens a lot of gigs for me.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll never forget the line, to be in a show. And to be in a came out, show, nothing.
Oh.
And it was the last chord of the song. And I just stood there. It's great experience. And then after that, I just didn't sing for a while. I was just in the choir. And then
Yeah, cool.
you hit year 12 and they're like, what do you want to do with your life? And during year 12, I got put in a band. I had no idea what a band was.
Yeah, right.
I was brought up in theatre. I knew orchestra, I knew dancers, I knew acting. I had no idea there was a guitar player, a bass player, a drummer. So when I got put into a band, I was like, Dad, I want to be in a band. And he's
right.
like, what?
Well,
I want to be in a band.
What about all those dance lessons I paid for?
And then I gave up.
You gave up dancing?
Yeah, I got accepted into JMC Academy, my first year of university.
Yeah.
Gave up. Well, not so much gave up. I just fell in love with singing.
Yeah, okay.
I still wasn't great.
Yeah.
I was probably the bottom ranked singer in the class, but I loved being in a band.
Yeah, right.
Loved it.
Being in a band is really fun.
Oh, loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved singing with other singers. I think that's where I fell in love with doing backing vocals, because there was heaps of girls that were amazing, and I'm like, oh, I'll do your harmonies. So that's kind of where I fell into it.
It's football or netball for people who are unco.
Yeah, that's me.
Or don't like to sweat.
That's me.
No, I just mean
Do I do the hard lifting?
I just mean that thing where, you know, you and we're back from being not unrudely interrupted at all. It was just a normal interruption.
She's cute.
She's a legend.
Yep.
Crikey, what were we talking about? Being in a band. Being in a band is like it's
netball and
I think there's a little bit of all right, when I was a kid, which was, you know, in the 1840s,
BC.
well, I would read because I was into music, right? And it wasn't that I wasn't into sport. I liked sport and I was pretty good at it, but turns out I found out, like, but when I was 21, they had really, really bad, not just flat feet, but really bad inward rolls. So if ever I ran around, I would be in excruciating pain for, you know, days afterwards because my feet would hurt. So sport always came, or, you know, running around just always came with, like, a lot of pain. Turned out I've just got shit feet.
We have the opposite in feet.
Oh, have you got outward?
I when I was younger.
You've got good feet. Did they tell you, like, I've got perfect feet?
No.
For a dancer? Oh.
I literally used to walk with my feet directly in, and then they had to turn them out.
Ah, right.
I'm the other, and my arches are extremely high.
Right. Well, I got, like...
Flat.
Yeah. If you were to watch me walk, my feet kind of go... Frunk, 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 frunk. Like, yeah, they make that noise. Frunk, frunk. And so I would used to read, like, musos talking about, like, being in a band because they were the outcast and because they didn't fit in, they didn't play sport, and obviously most of these people were American, and so it's different culture. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Different culture over there, but I saw the parallel straight away of, like, getting in the room with a bunch of other people and doing something that you couldn't do just by yourself. Mm-hmm. So, like playing in a football team or something like that. Like, you can't play a game of football by yourself,
Nope.
Or against one other person. So I saw the similarity, and it makes a lot of sense to me that even for people who feel like, oh, I'm not sporty or I'm not anything, like, they get into a band and it's the same kind of feeling of being able to make something that's bigger than what you can do by yourself.
Yeah.
Which leads me on to how I ended up being a singer.
How? That's what I was about to ask you.
I was in a high school band, which I was the weakest link. In my brain, I was the weakest link by far. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the other guys would think not, but I was probably the most passionate. But that's generally been the case with me. Like, I get really into stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I'm no good at it. But after a while, if you put in the effort with stuff, you can't tell that someone's not
great at it,
naturally good at it, or whatever. Like, and so I was in the high school band with incredibly creative young guys, and but slightly self-destructive and not great communicators, and people with rough pasts and stuff too. So when we got together, we would invent this music. It was just so like nothing
that was out at that time.
It still hasn't been really. It was really unique, and so I think I've kind of been chasing the feeling of what it was like to be in that band ever since.
Yeah.
And that's why I love writing songs with other people, because I can write a song.
Hell yeah, you can.
I can sit in a room by myself with a guitar. I've studied it. I know how songs work. I don't know if I write great songs or very good ones, but I know how to do it.
I think you're right.
But I never surprise myself, because it's when you do it by yourself, you do it by yourself.
Yeah.
But when there's someone else there, something happens, and you go, oh, that.
Yeah.
Or they go, oh, that.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
That's a connection.
Yeah, and you can't get that by yourself.
No.
Some people really like that they don't want other people interrupting their creativity, but I really like it.
Yeah.
So as it turned out, what happened that band was super creative, but it didn't really go much past high school, and then eventually I ended up at a music school.
Yeah.
And then I got asked not to come back, and then I got kicked out.
For?
But not being very good.
Oh, for not being very good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, I didn't cut it. And not just not being very good, but being a bad student and, working too much and...
Student life.
Sorry?
Priorities.
No, it just wasn't... Yeah, I went to the wrong place for me in the first place.
Right, okay. That's fair.
Yeah, and, that's
live and you learn.
Most of us have stories like that. So,
yeah.
But I got into Box Hill Institute as a guitar major, right? And funnily enough, I went and auditioned, and the main guy, Mario, auditioned me, and I played a piece, and then I played another piece, and I got to a third piece, and they were all really different. And he's like, dude, whoa. All right, you can play guitar. Well, what do you want to play, though? Like, because I played a rock thing and then tried a jazz thing. It was a terrible jazz thing, but I learned a piece. And I played a fingerstyle thing. He's like, you know, clearly you want to play guitar, but you have to kind of get
hone in on one.
It's like, get a direction, mate.
Yeah.
And of course, I've never been able to. But then what happened is I got into first year and as a guitar student, and I went and auditioned for a gig. All the other guitar guys went for this gig too. And I don't know if you've ever known many guitar guys. She has.
She has.
But a lot of guitar players just like, no, I play guitar, I don't sing.
Oh, yes.
And great. But I went to this thing and the singer was running the gig. And the singer said, do you sing? I was like, you know, not really.
Yeah.
And then he said, will you sing? I was like, well, I'll give it a go. And he goes, what songs do you know? And I said, I could probably get through Saw Her Standing There.
Hey.
I sang it. And he went out of the room and there was like 3 or 4 other guitar players from school who were all way better than me. Right? And went, do any of you guys sing?
Yeah.
No. Anyone prepared to sing? Well, I don't sing. All right, Dom, you got the gig.
Really?
It was that. I just instantly, it was about probably September-ish that year. And I'd been writing songs as well. And it was about September that year and I got this gig, right? And I realized it's like, I clearly play guitar okay enough to get gigs. But it doesn't matter how good you are as a guitar. I mean, in the sense of, you don't have to be the best guitar player.
Nope.
You just need to be prepared to do stuff that other people aren't prepared to do.
That's correct.
And so with that, I think within 2 weeks, I'd gone to my guitar teacher and said, I need to switch to vocal major because I'm a terrible singer.
Yeah.
But I clearly, if I want to
I can hold a tune.
If I want to be a musician, I need to be able to sing better. And
Yeah.
if I'm going to spend the next 2 years at uni paying uni fees, I may as well.
Yep.
You know, I actually didn't think I could be much of a better guitar player than I was. I'm definitely not as good a guitar player now as I was back then.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'm at the end of that road. So yeah, that's how I mean. So I went and then I went to the guy who ran the music, the singing part of the course, and he auditioned me because they wouldn't just let me do it.
Yeah.
Like he auditioned me and he said, "All right, I think you know we got something to work with." he wasn't
politely.
He wasn't super excited about it, but he was very generous with his time. And I went to lessons. You know, in the holidays, I went to his house for lessons too because I
really wanted to do it.
Yeah, I sucked, and I knew that Well, I knew that and so I became a singer because I knew that's how I was going to get work. But also, being in a band was really like doing original music. I was even at uni that time with other musicians, and no one wanted to write songs with me.
Oh.
And it was because they were there to be musicians. They weren't there. They weren't
hired guns.
Most people weren't there to kind of be creative so much, and so I wrote songs. I was like, I guess I'm singing them.
Yeah.
Right. And then I kind of met a few singers, and they were
not very good.
No, they were good singers, but they were kind of a bit dicky.
Yeah.
So they sang well, but they weren't. They were like, oh, it's got to be like this. It's got to be like this. They weren't collaborative, and in the sense of not like my high school band, where it was really encouraging and really collaborative, and I would try anything. And, if you did something that sucked, it was fine.
Try something else.
Yeah, and so I've already said 5 times now that's how I became a singer. But yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was just out of the sheer, like, I wanted to be a musician, and it was the only way I was going to get that extra 2 or 3 gigs a week.
And now look. Look at you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Funnily enough, though, I'm back being, I'm a guitar teacher.
Yeah.
Again, right? No one's asked me to teach singing.
Do you want to teach me how to sing? I'll teach you how to tap if you teach me how to sing.
I've got to say, what do you mean teach you how to sing?
Teach you how to sing and I'll teach you how to tap.
I'll teach you how to play guitar.
Yeah.
I've actually had a few months teaching in a music school, like after school.
Yeah.
And I was in a room next to singing students. And I've got to say, the most patient and angelic people on the planet must be singing teachers, because you can turn a guitar amp down.
Yeah.
But a singer who has yet to acquire the skill required to attenuate their voice, I'm trying to be as
polite as possible.
Yeah, and also, like, the reality is, like, some people are tuneful and some people have that before they even go to singing lessons. But most people don't. Most people have to learn from scratch.
Correct.
How to do all that stuff. And so, yeah, they start off poor.
I high-five any singing teacher that I meet.
I high-five also any singing student that persists.
Very true.
As well, because, it's one of those rare... Like I said, you can't turn your voice down. You actually have to plough through... singing badly, or like working out, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? And then doing it in front of someone who you respect or admire.
And sounds incredible. I had that with my first singing teacher. She's incredible.
Right. Yeah,
She is incredible.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just don't want to sing in front of you.
Yeah. Right.
And you hear them just doing a scale and you're like, how do you make that sound so easy? How?
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, it's literally 5 notes. Figure it out. And your mind just baffles.
It's hard to get into the mindset, even being back teaching. It's hard to get into the mindset again of what it must be like to not know.
Exactly. It's literally like learning another language.
Yeah, because I've got some students and I really have to kind of get to the point where I will say, okay, so the notes of C major are C, D, E, F, G, A, and B.
Yeah.
Right? And they go, yep. And I go, so what are the notes of C major? And they go, what? Because it's like information overload. It is another language.
It's another language.
Yeah.
It's like literally learning another language. Yeah. It's like being back in primary school. I'm the same thing with learning guitar. I watch you guys do it day in and day out, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, what?
Maybe a little bit closer to that mic again. No, just maybe move it a bit closer.
Oh. I'm a learner still.
Well, it was just, it's not like anyone's ever told you that you need to speak up, Rosie.
Rosie, you're too loud.
What about when you see us play guitar, for example?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about it that you're... Because you're very musical.
Yeah.
But when we're doing stuff, like, what do you look at the guitar playing and what is it that makes you go, what is happening there? Can you pinpoint what that is?
No. I watch you
cool.
and I watch you play, especially your playing. It's very intricate. Like, you don't strum chords.
Right.
Like you...
Oh, strum chords.
No, but like you... Like today I had the Some Folks EP on and the second song.
I was going to say, because I don't play the guitar
Get
parts
out of
on
the way.
Some Folks. Yeah.
No, Get Out of the Way. Sounds like there's 2 guitars.
Oh, okay.
And in my head I'm going, did he lay down 2 guitars? And I'm like, no, it's 1 guitar, but the way you play it, it's strumming with finger picking and it's beautiful. And my head goes, how's your 3-4 fingers holding down those strings and making so many notes come out? Like, it's just, my brain goes, how is that happening? It's only so far that your hand can go. And
I can explain that song for you.
Really?
It's in open C sharp.
Right.
Right. So a lot of that song
has open strings.
And it's already in a specific tuning.
Right.
So you can play it and do things because the open tuning facilitates.
Yeah.
And then have these notes kind of cascade into each other. It sounds like you're doing something complex.
It really does.
But it's not.
Yeah.
In that sense of It's just the way that the notes
Flow.
fall
Yeah.
and flow,
Yep.
which, you can only do, well, I can only do with an open tuning.
Yeah,
Like,
but
to
still,
get
no one would know that, and a guitar student would be looking at it going, "What? How are you making it sound like that?"
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that. I had
Yeah.
a student today ask me to, I really want to learn this Smashing Pumpkins song. And I was like, cool. And I heard it. I was just like, I don't know what tuning that's in, but that's not a
Not standard. Yeah.
tuning whatsoever. And it turns out it's in the weirdest tuning I've ever seen anything.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, D sharp, A sharp, A sharp, F sharp, A sharp, and B. Like, no, a D.
How would you even fall on that?
I think it's. I can imagine how this happens.
The guitar was out of tune?
Guitar falls over, right, and then you go, huh, that sounds weird. That sounds good though.
Yeah. See.
Hang on. Hey.
Let's keep that.
Yeah. My open tuning stuff came out of trying to write something different than because if you sit down and write all the time, your hand goes to whatever your ear naturally goes for, and so it was very much like, oh, well, what will happen if I do this, and then sometimes
well, a lot of
it's
our
good.
stuff is like that. Like you were just going from chord to chord. And I'm like, keep that,
Yeah.
keep that one. Yeah.
And that's getting back to the beautiful thing about writing music with other people is what you think is just normal stuff. Other people go, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's, that's just a C chord.
Yeah.
Right. But, and then the other person
You
goes,
sound like a muppet.
no, but
That's
it's
a
like,
C
it's just a C chord. And then the person says, no, not that. And you
Yeah.
go, oh, that's A minor 9.
Yeah.
That's, and there's an example. Right.
See, that's what we were doing. I think it was I Will Lift You Up.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. So, hang on. I wonder if this will work without being too loud. Like, that's just a C chord.
Yeah.
But then you go to that.
See?
That's A minor 9.
See? Hearing those, I literally just jump for them.
Yeah.
I love, you know me, 7ths, 9ths, 11ths. Keep them.
I do know. I know you well.
Beatles chords.
And so, I don't know how long we've been going for. How long have we been going for? Is there a clock on there? Oh, there is.
Oh.
Half an hour already.
Hey.
How about that? It's easy to do a podcast.
It is.
Because it's easy to talk to your mates about stuff that you both love.
And about each other.
And
I'm learning.
don't love. Yeah. So, is there anything you want to specifically know? Because it's half an hour already.
Specifically know about you?
Just, to wrap up this conversation today.
Okay.
And then we might just record another episode straight afterwards.
Why not? Did your first ever original piece, was it just you or in a band? The first song that you ever wrote? Not like you wrote?
Oh.
Just you and a guitar or you and a band?
Oh, dude, the first song I ever wrote was probably about 3 years old.
Really?
But not on an instrument. Yeah, I was always... See...
You're always musical.
No, not musical. So I have a cassette. I have a number of cassettes that are my mum and dad and I talking when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. And because I have a hair lip cleft palate, the two things really happened. Because it was the 70s when I was born, and surgery wasn't, well, it was certainly advanced, but not like it is today. The surgeons kind of told my mum and dad, they said, look, Dom will need speech therapy because I talk like this because I was I had that impediment, I guess. So they said, oh, you have to get him to talk a lot and get him to enunciate his words because he's going to need a lot of speech therapy because that's part of the condition.
Yeah. And
so, as it turned out, my mum got me to speak so much that by the time I went for speech therapy, they were like, he doesn't need it.
He's fine.
Yeah. And part of it was that my dad's good with accents and voices, and I think he kind of like encouraged me to kind of copy and listen out for it. Now, my mum also kind of sings everything. Always sang when I was a kid, beautiful voice as well. And
still to this day she does.
Yeah, but also that kind of voice that I mean, I don't necessarily remember if I did this, but because she was always singing. But like even now, when my mum sings, it's like, oh, I just feel better. Like if she's like,
it's like a hug.
Yeah, she's in the kitchen, just kind of having a sing song to herself. She just is like, oh, the world's right,
Yeah.
And I think that's very much from my childhood. But they also said when I was going for this particular bunch of surgeries, if you can, record him now, because after this surgery, he's going to sound different.
Yeah.
And you'll never have it. And so I've got these recordings of, Dad telling me stories about Batman and telling each other jokes and stuff like that. But I think even that kind of led to, because Dad would always make up stories. And
storytelling.
when I got to school, even to the point where I got to school when I was a kid, and eventually one of the teachers kind of got my mum into for a meeting, saying, we think Dom might have a bit of a problem with lying.
Over exaggerator?
Well, no. See, my dad I'd say, Dad, what did you do for work today? He would come. He was like, oh, well, I was taming lions today in Africa. Right, and like, today I was very, very tired because I had to swim the English Channel, or I was a long flight from Saudi.
He's cute.
He would come home and tell me like all these amazing invented stories, and I would go,
wow.
I was like, wow, and then I would go to school and
my dad's the best.
Yeah. My dad works for British Airways and blah, blah, blah.
He went to the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an astronaut, was definitely one of them. Fireman was definitely one of them. And so it turned out that, no, it wasn't me that I had a problem with lying. It was my dad.
Dad.
So getting back to like my first song, I would copy my mum from singing. And so I would make songs all the time. And even Kat laughs at me now. Like I walk around the house, like, the dogs have got their own songs.
I was about to say, I've heard the dog one.
Yeah. Papuski-o, Papuski-o. Like, they've got like their own little operas, you know. And so I was always doing that long before I played guitar.
Yeah.
And even like I remember in primary school, when I got to Australia, we would change all the lyrics to all like the Guns N' Roses songs and stuff like that.
That's cute.
And I do not know. I certainly wouldn't have a copy anywhere of the first song I wrote on guitar. Yeah. I can absolutely tell you it would be G and CF9 because it would just be me rewriting Every Rose Has Its Thorn, which I think is the first song I learnt on the guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess that answers that question.
Cool.
What's the first song you ever wrote? Do you think? Was it that thing?
It was that song.
Oh, cool.
That I had the CD of. That I sound like a hopped up Disney character.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hopped up Disney character. Not just.
Oh no!
Not just a Disney character.
No. It was like I had a helium balloon attached to my vocal cord or something.
Yeah, you were a little kid.
Yeah, I know, but it just. You got to hear it. I'll bring it so you can have a laugh.
Oh, can we put it on the podcast?
No.
Come on.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
My history? Yeah.
I'll put my music on.
Okay, if you put yours on, it was called Could It Be Me?
Oh.
Yeah.
You can sing it for us now?
No.
Okay, very good.
It sounds like two different people. My dad still says, what happened? Like, where did it, I still can't remember when it changed.
Yeah,
because even in uni, I wasn't a singer at all.
Ah.
Like, you've met Sarah, my friend Sarah.
Yeah.
She's an incredible singer. But I was always 3 steps behind them going, oh, no, I don't want to sing in front of people. Yeah. And now it's just like a foghorn. Like, it's like, how do you...
Okay. Well, now it's a foghorn.
Literally, I'm just like, turn her down. She's like a foghorn. Like, okay. I'm really loud.
That's something for us to talk about at some other point. Yeah. So, Hey everyone, thanks for listening to our very first podcast conversation.
Yes.
These things, see, this has already become something like what I hoped it would be. Is like us
Good.
kind
Didn't
of...
disappoint.
No. No, it's great. This is a really nice chat.
Good.
Really cool.
I'm glad.
So we'll take a little bit of a break. I'll just change my t-shirt and it'll look like it's a completely different day. I hate that, you clearly in podcasts and videos and stuff, it's clearly the same day that someone else has done something else, but they try and pretend.
That it's another day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not about pretending.
Nah.
I mean, clearly
What
I write songs where I fix all the problems in my life, so I'm clearly about pretending, but I just mean
Yeah.
I always think that kind of stuff's a bit naff.
Ah.
Yeah.
They're going to know. They're going to know.
They're going to know. Hey, let's just sign off and say goodbye.
Bye.
All right, remember, salada biscuits. Matt, if you...
We need to get you a new one. That's yours and
that's
Matt's.
good. No, Matt, if you are watching, I'm sorry that, but I just have to say salada biscuits.
Does Matt have one? Does he have a little tag?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
He's funny.
I think he very much goes, "Oh, bye," because he tries to make me stop.
All right, Dom. Bye.
Thanks, Rosie.
Now it's not how it started, how it broke, heavy-hearted. I needed to do